Hello everyone, Reggie Time here again with the fourth episode of my Tankroll challenge, and I played a short session this afternoon and grew my bankroll to €162, which means we are now in a position to take a shot at the NL25 games, which is pretty sweet given it's a Friday night. It's a sweet time to try and do it. Hopefully we can have some success and continue spinning up, but according to these rules, if we drop, I'll leave these here so you can read them, but if we drop more than one buy-in below our minimum, which is 151, so if we drop to 126, we have to move down. There are some caveats beyond that they suggest, but I'm not going to. It's more complicated than it needs to be there. I think it's saying you can continue as long as you're like just 30 big blinds below your minimum, etc., etc. But I'm not going to do that. If we drop to 126, then we're going to move back down to 10NL, which gives us around nearly $40 to play with at 35. Gives us like a buy-in and a half to play with. So hopefully, a buy-in and a half, that can go in no time. We could easily move back down within the first 10 minutes of the session. But hopefully we won't. Hopefully we'll continue marching forward. And yeah, let's get some tables up and going. Talking just a moment when we get going about the differences I expect to see in these games. I think there's definitely a difference between 5NL and 10NL. Sorry, 10NL and 25NL. I think it's more pronounced than it used to be as well. So there we go. So all our tables up. And let's go. Raise our two pairs, I think. It's going to be hard to get value on this river, I think, with the multitude of potential straights that are out there. So I think we'll just check back. Really would suck to bet and get raised here. I think it's going to be hard to get called by one pair. And we actually lose to a set. So yeah, what do I think the differences are going to be? And why do I think that? I think as online poker gets harder and better players are forced to move down to remain profitable, clearly the step-ups in limits get harder and harder to make. 10NL, in my opinion, is still a very soft limit. 25NL is still soft enough. I'm not going to pretend it's not soft. It's soft enough, but I do expect to see more 3-bets. I expect to see more stealing. I expect people to be playing wider ranges from like the late positions and just generally putting more pressure on. And sometimes that pressure can lead to challenging our mental game. So post-flop, I don't expect to see a massive deal of difference in like how aggressive the games play, but I certainly expect to see a lot more pre-flop aggression, and we might have to make some adjustments to that. We might have to start making our opens a little bit smaller, maybe not opening quite so wide from middle position, and not that they open particularly wide from middle position anyway. We'll see how the tables play, we'll see how we go, but obviously if we've only got one buy-in to go at this, I don't want to play overly cautiously because I think you're just no point moving. It can move up if you're not going to play an actual game. But while we've only got one buy-in to play with, I'd perhaps be maybe avoiding like the really close, high variance, like very low or very like marginal EV spots. And then we'll see how we go from there. As I say, we've been 3-bet like twice already. And that's not to say that these guys don't have hands when they're doing it. But already we have been 3-bet twice, and I expect that to be a much more common theme throughout the video, and that's hard for a lot of people to deal with. Nobody likes getting 3-bet. No, unless you've got a really strong hand, of course. I'm no exception to that. I find it quite irritating, but we just have to start 3-betting slightly more ourselves too to compensate for it. I didn't 3-bet too much at 10 because people are opening quite as wide. I think I've got a much bigger edge post flop. I'm happy to go post flop against players that I think I'm probably going to be quite a lot better than in general. But we're just not going to get the same amount of like bad players at our tables at 25-0. So I'm probably going to have to be a little bit more aggressive pre-flop, and we're not going to get to see as many flops because I can't call as often as I called at 10-0 when people open, because we're just going to get squeezed that much more. So yeah, I probably won't be calling as much. I'll probably be some of the hands I was calling with at 10-0. I'll probably be looking to 3-bet with, or some of them at least at 25-0. I'll be keeping a very close eye on my bankroll until I feel like we've got a nice 2-betting cushion, because it really doesn't take very long to drop a few big blinds, does it? I mean, you can just play for half an hour, not do an awful lot wrong, and find yourself stuck half a buy-in. And when we're not that far from our base camp, we need to be keeping our eye well and truly on the ball with it. It does seem somewhat peculiar to be playing with just 4 tables and having 2/3 of my bankroll on the table. It's not a situation I'm used to. It's not a situation I'm particularly comfortable with, to be honest, but that's what the challenge is all about. So let's see how it goes. Wow, that's a big bet. I'm going to presume he's not a good regular if he's making that sizing. Wow. And then we just get the 100 big blind 3-bet jam. Maybe we're going to get some action tonight. Just hope, cross our fingers for a little bit of run good. Might even end up having to rat hole, haven't we? I've just been thinking about that. I do not like rat holding, but there's every chance we end up with like a big stack at one table with not enough chips to reload at another. I think it's unlikely, but you know, it could happen. We get exactly what we didn't want on table 1. Well, it's just a tiny pot, it's not really a big deal. fourth heart obviously completely kills our hand. Just never put a bet in. Flops top pair with a flush draw, turns the flush, just checks it down in position. I don't mind playing against people like that. I guess we're going to tighten up against Soklav. He's 3-bet twice already, once jammed once. So we're not going to be opening the blind against him for an orbit or two, unless I have a hand that I'll be comfortable 4-betting or defending to a 3-bet. I guess we can consider defending the 10-9 suited, but it's not something I'm thrilled about. I think I'm going to be much more focused on is ensuring that we're not at any bad tables. Table 3 is already looking not great. I know Edvard is some kind of regular because he was playing 10 this afternoon. And I've seen the name before. I've seen him at more than one table before too. So we're looking at table 3 already thinking, is it a table that's worth being at? Maybe it is, maybe it isn't, but we'll see. Table 1's got 4 Barettis, so we're going to be staying there for sure. And we've also got somebody who isn't playing a full stack. We've got somebody at table 2 who isn't playing a full stack. Not sure about table 4. Certainly don't see anything that I recognise. But then we're not likely to recognise people anywhere near as much on this site, obviously due to the semi-anonymous nature of it. I think we will try and find a better table than table 3 before we put our blinds in again. And we're going to start min raising at table 4. Just take this off the screen for now. In fact, we might no, we'll lose a table. Or AU ready wasn't reloading, but nevertheless. So the bottom 2 tables are going to switch over here now. It's hard to know how good a table you're at when the tables are anonymous and you haven't had a chance to play many hands yet because you've been doing a lot of folding. You don't really know how good a game is until you kind of get balls deep into it. I am trying to look around at tables when you get to post flop and just see if we can see what's going on, see if people playing passively, aggressively, try and see if we can spot players that are playing too loose. Unfortunately, at the start of the video, we're not getting too many playable hands, which does obviously make things pretty dull, both for you guys watching and for myself playing. But not much we can do when we're just getting dealt a succession of off-suited stuff. We're already down to 149. So we've lost $12 or 12 euros already, and it's not really sure where from. I think we 3-bet the ace king, didn't we? And we've missed, and don't recall any other pots that should have come to half a buy-in already. But it's kind of how it works. It just creeps up on you. So I've seen this person 3x and just make it 60 up to now. Could mean something, could mean nothing, but something we're going to keep an eye on. Pretty good flop for 2 queens. We're just going to bet and not fold on this board texture. Really good turn card. And we take it down. I was kind of hoping for some more action there, but I guess we'll take it. Just that make my opens smaller in general on table 3. If it wasn't for Magaluf, I would probably just be leaving the table. for a check raise against small. I think we bet it's just going to fold way too often. Just set on table 3. Pretty dry board too, so I think we'll just go for the check call. Maybe start thinking about check raising this turn. Given that some more draws have appeared, and if he bets twice, it's just way more likely, or we hope it's going to be way more likely that he has a value hand. I raise to 5, he calls. It's not going to allow me to jam, is it? Don't think we're going to be able to get like a decent size raise into jam anyway, but I want to try and leave like half pot, but the turn raise would have been too big to leave half pot. He snaps us off with ace queen. Happy days. I like to try and leave half pot for value when I'm wanting to jam rivers, but I think that raise would have been too big there. We'd have to make it too big, and we're definitely going to leave table 3 in a moment because we're just left with some aggro players I have no interest bashing heads with at the best of times. Never mind when I'm on a budget. Sorry if you can hear any background noise, it's just my cat being a dick again. And again, we're going to see the bottom 2 tables here switch around. Now we're back up to 163, 168, about maybe 170 something now, is it? I think. Yeah, 174. So we now have almost 2 buy-ins cushion. Table 2 might be about to bite the dust as well. Sorry for all the messing around with tables, but it's really important that I keep on top of this while we haven't got an awful lot of wiggle room. But the table of loaded has just taken me right back to the last one, so I'm going to load a 4th one. I'm going to close 2. Extreme table selecting unibet style. And that one's going to go. I thought I had checked. Didn't have it checked. I'll have to wait for next time. We have the nuts over here on the table that I've just started. Limped pot, not expecting to make a ton from it, but no, we just take down the pot on the turn. Table's about to wibble around again. I guess we isolate with the ace deuce, and then if we get shipped on, obviously we're just going to call and hope to get lucky. Which we did not, but never mind. That's how I played the king 7 off as well, when I've only got 8 and 9 big blinds. I think it's the only way to play it, I think. Check raise, we bet smallish here with our good shot. A-side dry boards, people see bet them a bunch, don't they? It's like your absolute textbook c-bet with almost your entire range type of board. For many players, not for me, but for many players it will be a-side dry. You can't blame them for it. But I am of the opinion that one of the biggest mistakes plenty of players make these days is just c-betting too often with too high a frequency. Maybe I overdo it. Maybe I could look for some more spots to c-bet, because I know my c-bet percentage is pretty low from the last time I played on 888 and PokerStars. My c-bet was certainly on the low side, lower than I'm used to it being, but I'm comfortable enough with that. Set mining out position isn't something you catch me doing too often. Another dry board that I may well attack if he makes a smallish c-bet. I'll let him have it when he takes that sizing. Had he gone with, say, a sizing around 80, I may well have attacked it. Probably be looking to 3-bet the 7-5 suited should the cutoff or the button open. Probably check raising our gut shot here, especially when he makes like a pretty small c-bet on the dry board. It's just sort of I'm going to look to check raising a reasonable amount of the time. And he's made this 3-bet way too small, so I'm going to defend the 7-9 suited. We flop pretty well. And we turn pretty good too, or at least we hope we do. I'm not going to slow play here. I'm going to bet pretty big. Hope to get value from some like scared over pairs that may or may not have a spade, like pocket jacks to the spade, pocket queen to the spade, Maybe ace-x with a spade. He doesn't have a spade there. He's just going to check fold no matter how big I make it. So in my opinion, it feels like I may as well make it bigger for the times that he isn't it, like a check call, or maybe even like a check jam mode. Wouldn't love getting jammed on there, but obviously we'd be snapping. But we just hope he's in like check call mode with pocket tens with a spade or something like that, and then we can put a big bet out there and try and get some good value. He shouldn't be opening too wide with this really short stack guy in the small blind. Can we go for a cold 4-bet here with the ace-9? Worked out. Happy days. So even though I am trying to like kind of protect my bankroll, if you will, I still don't think it's going to be in any way a good idea to play too defensively. I think you kind of have to, if you see an opportunity to make a play, you have to do it. Otherwise, you're just going to be lowering your EV if you're not making plays that you know are winning plays in the long term, because you're trying to avoid short-term variance. I think you're just going to end up lowering your win rate, because if we kind of try to avoid variance too much, we just end up having a low win rate because we're passing up plus EV edges. So therefore, if we're passing up plus EV spots and that we would normally take, and naturally we are lowering our win rate. And the last thing you want to do is lower your win rate when you are when you're trying to make money at poker. Just have to just get on with it, play your natural game as close to as you can. And if it takes a few move downs before your like move up and your shot sticks, then it takes a few move downs. That's kind of the whole principle of this Tankroll strategy. Is going to be a lot of moving up. Hopefully it's not, but it's every chance there's going to be a lot of moving up and down until you actually move up, and then you get on that 4, 5, 6 buying heater. Well, not even a heater. You just get on like a 4, 5, 6 buying upswing, and then the worry of needing to move back down again is like significantly reduced, and you can hopefully go about your normal business. What challenges do we have going on at the moment? I have a bonus that I'm clear. I bought a bonus this afternoon, just a couple of $5 bonuses, €5 bonuses. So fingers crossed we can clear them pretty quick. That'll give us an extra €10 boost. Just saying the Tankroll page that you should really be trying to do this on an account where you have bonuses to clear or you have good rate back. Those things are much harder to come by these days, especially when you've been playing as long as I have, and you can't really get first deposit bonuses anymore because you kind of played at every site that there is imaginable. the nuts on table 1 in a multi-way pot is rather exciting. What isn't rather exciting is getting absolutely no action. So we just completed the premium pair challenge. We're going to 3-bet when you're in the big blind and win the hand. Doesn't seem like the hardest thing to do. Let's make a start on that. No, we won't make a start on that now. We've done this move on our friend here once before, but we'll try it again. 2 overs, backdoor straight draw. Again, he's made like a half pot bet on the dry board. We're not going to get away with this forever, but I don't mind going to the well with it until he tells us otherwise. So he bet the flop, check back the 9 on the turn. And it checks back when it hits. Pretty loose open from the cut off there with the 9-6 suited. Backdoor clubs, 2 overs, backdoor straight draw. We're going to see a turn card. I don't see a particularly good turn card, but we thought we'd see one. One step along the 3-bet pre-flop from the big blind challenge. Quite like what happens with these challenges. You get points and then you can store your points up and buy bonuses with them, which is okay. If we're always like working at grinding a little bonus into our game, then it's always that extra little bit of incentive to put some sessions in. Not folding the ace-10 suited. I'm obliged to call one seed, not just because we've got a good shot, but because he might just give up and we get to take it away on later streets. Although I don't expect this to be a board that good riggers are going to have that complete air on too often. Hopefully the 10 will slow him down a little bit. If it doesn't, I might just let it go. Wow, I'll let it go versus that sizing for sure. There's a reasonable chance we're folding the best hand here. Shouldn't have too much 8x in his range for 3-betting. Can have king, queen. Could just have a beat with like pocket queens, kings, aces. Maybe the flop call was a little bit loose there. I think we'll get rid of table 3 anyway. We'll change with the tables again. Come Only on 61 plus 105, that's 166. So a little bit down from our peak. Haven't really made too many inroads yet into getting up to 200. I think I'll feel a bit more comfortable if or when we get the bankroll past the 200 euro stage. And 3x here because of I want ace in the small blind. Although Pavluk and Sokolov both seem to be regulars, so we're going to get 3-bet some of the time. I'm probably going to defend the king 10 suited if we do get 3-bet by Sokolov. Maybe would have folded it to Pavluk and defended it in position against Sokolov. Maybe that was going to be my strategy there. Good shot, backdoor flush draw, 2 overs. We're going to see a turn card against Only Joking, but we're not going to go for a check raise on this board texture because he's going to have way more things that he's going to want to call with, you'd imagine, on this board texture. Pick up the flush draw on the turn. Calling and raising can both be okay here. Given I don't know anything about him, I think we'll take the check call route. Usually a bit more nervous when people double barrel on wet boards. I think they're just way less likely to fold if you do try and make a move on them. There's a very good chance we don't win here. He's triple barrel, but there's every kind of draw that's missed, so then we have to call. And we're into queens, and it's fair to say our check raise plan would not have worked. Just glad that he was only betting half pot. I mean, on that board texture, I would typically expect people to bet bigger than half pot with over 2 streets with a very vulnerable overpair. It'll be interesting to see if he chooses any different sizes in future pots, and if so, which hands he chooses to use different sizes with, and hopefully give us an idea of his overall approach to poker and how he thinks about the game. Not scared of the jack on table 1. No reason why it should really have hit him. He just limp called from the button. So he's going to continue betting for value against draws and just like to protect my hand a little bit. I would normally be calling raising this type of hand at 10 and L, but because I think there's way more likely to get squeezed at 25 and L, I'm going to actually 3-bet myself to knock the blinds out rather than call and then have the blinds knock me out more often when they get to squeeze. Don't get a particularly good flop. I think we're going to see that Just make it fold some ace highs, some random 10-9s, things like that. So Klaus gone for his all in again on table 4. So he's at 2 tables. He's not reloading his stack. Not much we can do. I think the 3-bet with the 7-5 suited is fine, 4-handed. Button versus cutoff. And we just get called 4-bet jammed on. Nothing we can do, of course. Well, low store club is at 2 tables and would appear to be some kind of regular. Given he's not reloading his stack and he seems to be 3-betting with quite a high frequency, I'm going to make a loose presumption that he's not maybe a really good regular. But we'll see. We haven't really seen him get to showdown with anything yet, so. We saw the 6-9 suited earlier, so we saw him like open reasonably wide from the cutoff, but that's all. But we already know, kind of guess he might be a little bit loose anyway, so it's not really telling us very much. Ace deuce there, so close, just spewing up. And he's reloaded from 1250, so yeah. If he is some kind of regular, he ain't a good one. Don't mind letting 4th pair go there on the facing the large bet. It's tempting to call here just to let Sorklav come in, but this is a pretty aggro table, so we'll try and fit in and 3-bet the kings. That's a good flop. We won't be folding to a raise here. Be looking to build a pot. If we get raised, probably just on that board texture, just jam, I guess. I'm not one for slow playing over pairs on wet boards when we get raised. Just shovel all the beans in and see where the chips land. So club again. Oh, he's hit this time. Isn't that good little fucker, isn't he? Flopped a pretty nice draw on table 1. What would I bet here if we had a set? Probably bet quite big, wouldn't I? Probably like 225, something like that. Pretty awful turn card, but I guess we're just going to continue. With our bluff and just sigh and flick the chips in. if he jams, which he does, which is unfortunate of course, but whatever, we get there. Folding the ace jack to the 4-bet. And that's why it's always nice to choose like reasonable hands to bluff with, because when you get caught, sometimes you suck out. Min raising here because of how aggressive. In fact, we think we're just going to leave table 4 because it's just mega aggro pre-flop nonsense that I don't have any interest in. Timeout so that gives us a table up here if we can. Let me just leave next blind and slot the next table in, and for some reason it sat me out. Global sit out activated. I don't want global sit out fucking activating, do I? I also don't want this table, so that one can go. This one can go like this. Still no idea why this fucking global sit out's activated. No fucking clue. See what happens in a minute when we leave this table. It doesn't appear to be globally sitting me out anywhere else, does it? So no point putting another table up yet, because it'll just take me straight back to that last table. So we just play 3 tables for a short while. Bankroll 81 plus 98, that's 178, 179 even, and change. So we are tanking along. I like the look of table 1. We have 2 players who don't have full stacks. Table 3 has 1 player that doesn't have a full stack. As this U4, who this appears to be at several tables. Much less players in the lobby at 25 and all, which is understandable, but it does limit our game selection somewhat. But bad game selection on Unibet is still going to be better than playing something like 25 and I'll zoom. And I guess we could consider playing €20 NL on iPoker. I guess that's something we could consider, but it certainly helped with volume. And I do have a bonus I could work on clearing there, but I think we'll probably just stay where we are. He's just a guy, this what's his face, who was like being pretty aggro with Soclav at the last table. Can't remember. If it was, that would be the second time he's 4-bet me under 2 different aliases, so he doesn't know he's 4-bet me twice, if it is that guy. We can maybe think about calling some opens on this table because we don't think it's got any regulars at it. Hopefully we're less likely to be squeezed, so we can use our 10-0 strategy rather than the strategy we've adopted for the start of this 25-0. I'm going to hope to see some favourable flops here with the ace-jack. Not sure if that's favourable or not. Start by checking. And if the board doesn't change, if it runs at like 3-5 offsuits, then I would probably, if he bet, I would probably just go call. When he checks back, I'm going to presume that my jack X is, my ace jack's the best hand. And bet for like kind of value from 10x from like any random like whatever heart he might have, who's got like pocket 8 to the heart or something. Don't want to just let him realise all his equity for free. I'll clear another challenge. We are racing along tonight. We dealt suited cards 3 hands in a row. Not sure how long that'll take. And the top one is bluff a lot, and it's not something I really do much of, so that one might take a while to clear. Right, let's try and find a fourth table again. Not brought straight back to the table that we left not so long ago. So we'll just leave. Raise top pair versus the min donk. Just jams the turn. Chopping up. Not really sure what the heck was going on with his line there, but it's not a line I typically associate with strength, so just click call and hope for the best. Wow, that's a big C bet on the dry board. What if we do this? We join the table and then we like instantly join another one. So then when we can like close this table before we put a blind in. Hopefully. Which we can. How's about that for getting around the taking you back to the same table? Doesn't necessarily follow that we've got a better table, but at least it's a different table. Just in stroke off full to a 3-bet, yep. Just something to bear in mind if we ever have a suitable 3-betting hand. It's not, it's just stack size, so no reason to be 3xing anymore. Large bets just appear to be his thing, so even though it's a large bet, still don't want to fold the turn after checking back the flop. Excuse me. I don't feel like defending the ace-5 versus the 3x. Some knobheads treating my street like a fucking racetrack these days. I'll be on the blower to the old bill if it carries on. Not give a fuck that it's 20 past 12 in the morning. Still don't want folk racing up and down your street, do you? A little bit dubious about bluffing here with the Jack 10 against this stack size. Because it doesn't leave us too many river options. Because we obviously have no fold equity against a pair. No, we would never get him off 9-10 in a million. Do we need to bluff with our 4 here? I think I prefer bluffing with it than taking it to showdown. Do I? Do I? No, I don't actually. I think we're just going to win a lot of the time here. And we do. double gut shot on a monotone flop. Not a c-betting situation for my tastes. Don't think I want to call here because we got like 6 outs at best and could be drawing dead. It's unlikely we're drawing dead, but at best we have 6 outs. Did not expect to get the fold there. Three, 4 suited. People just hate folding once they've invested a little bit of money in the pot, don't they? They just don't like it. Really irritating having this guy to our side with his nano stack. But we may just leave the table and try and find another one because it's pretty much just a waste of time, isn't it? And the other guy doesn't look like he's exactly good action. Let's have a look at the table. Wow, it keeps bringing that same fucking table up. It's absurd. Tables, we're going to do a little dance again. Be ready. This Abdullah's at several tables, so we know he's a regular. We're going to presume he's stupid or a cheat. Maybe both. I think about check raising this board without a backdoor everything. Pretty dry board, bunch of backdoors. As we talked about earlier, seems like a reasonable spot to go for a raise, especially if we're going to have a clean image at most tables, because A, we haven't been getting out of order at any of our tables, we've not been getting out of line, and B, it's semi-anonymous. Go for this squeeze here with the suited A7. These games don't seem that great, to be honest. We have this Ubu, whatever his name is here, but they don't seem like fantastic games by any stretch of the imagination. They do seem to be pretty reggy, not great regs by any stretch, but nevertheless they do have a feeling of being pretty reg infested. Quite nitty aggressive, if you will. Not the most exciting games to grind. Makes you wonder if maybe Stars 25 and would be a better place to play, just because of the extra volume you're going to get, like 500 hands per hour, rather than the 250 hands per hour guess we're getting here, something like that. Something I need to think about. I'm not going to make any rash decisions, because 25 on the Zoom will almost certainly be more difficult than these games. Maybe the William Hill route might be the route to go down. At least for the 20-0 portion. 20-0 speed poker on William Hill might be a better option. Triple Eight's not an option because that's 30 and it's a weird limit. Party poker, probably a better 25-0 option than Poker Stars in terms of like game quality. But then you've got the shit software, the lack of a time bank. And I guess we could even do 20-0 on Sky. But then volume would be an issue. I think we might end the video now though, because this is quite dull, not much is happening, and I'm just going to give it some thought as to the best site to continue this challenge on. I'm going to play around to our blinds and then call it a video. There's only like 56 players in the lobby now. 56 players, that might mean there's just as little as 12 players in the entire lobby, in the entire pool. Probably slightly more than 12, but I wouldn't say it's more than like 20 something. So I don't think the traffic on this site is going to be great for this part of the challenge. On the 50-0 is even lower. There's like 34 people playing 50-0 right now. So I think at the micro stakes, like the 10-0 part of the challenge, this was a good site for it, but I'm not convinced that it's going to be a great site for the 25-0 and 50-0 part of it. That's a flush on table 2, but we did get 2 callers, so I was going to go for a check raise to try and get him to that better jack and then raise. Try and get all the money in now, but now I don't know anymore. Now a jack doesn't call, does it? We have the king and the queen of clubs. I mean, I guess we just make a small value bet and hope somehow that the 9 or the 10 of clubs can find a call. Never mind. Kind of butchered that on the turn there. Got a little bit too fancy. But anyways, that's the end of it. The bankroll increased by €4 during this session. Was it €4? Something like that. And it was quite dull. So yeah, the next session we're going to be somewhere else. No idea where yet. But we'll see. So we'll leave it there and bye-bye for now.